I will not be gaslit, and I hope you aren't either on this topic that is touchy for some people because of nobody wants to admit that maybe a group of people years ago who said that this would be a thing, and then folks said, well, no, that's some sort of slippery slope fallacy. They were right. And because they're your ideological enemies, you don't ever want to concede your ideological enemy is right. So what you do is ignore it and then act like what we see isn't there. Like the vast amounts of people who still to this day pretend that there is not a sort of sexuality indoctrination bit happening in school, even despite all this evidence. If you talk to some of these guys, they act like that's not even a thing. And this is why I continue to cover those aspects when we see people that are doing this ridiculous stuff in these schools. I cover them because I will not sit up here and allow these idiots to act like this stuff is not a thing. When they're not, why would you need such a rule anyway? Because nobody's doing this to your kindergartners and stuff is what they are saying. And then we can point to instances where that's exactly happening. So looking at this, and I have to talk about this because this was in where I was born and raised, Dallas, Texas. And I'm not going to show you much of this. I'm not even going to play it because it's disgusting. But you can see that there's a video. There's a sign. There's some heifer, I don't know, a dude in a fucking drag. It says it's not going to lick itself. In the background, that's like on the wall. This is a gay adult club. And there are children that are there watching this shit. And the fact that people see this shit and they're not ready to bare knuckle fucking box, to be fucking honest, goes to show where we have come. Now, there are folks that, number one, will act like this does not exist, or there will be folks that will then try to find some sort of false equivalency to act like this is fucking normal because they want this shit normalized. At the end of the day, that's exactly what it is they want. They want it normalized. And they are still to this day talking about it as if it is normal. But it's not normal. It was never normal. And to see such disgusting acts take place, and more importantly, that there are adults that are co-signing this bad behavior, goes to show how far we have come. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like everybody that calls themselves a gay or whatever other gender bullshit is out there cosigns this. That's not what I'm going to pretend like exists. But there is a significant amount of people that do. See, even the term that we now accept as trans kids, that is not a thing. That is something that's abuse. Let's call it what it is, child abuse. But you hear commercials where they mention that stuff like it's normal. For lack of better terms, because I can't find a better term, what it is degenerate. And yes, these people are degenerate. And I know, man. You see these weirdos bojangling and gyrating and shit at an adult club in front of fucking kids. And they don't even think twice. Like the fact they do, this person, this goofball is sitting there doing that goofy shit, and they see the children right now, and they don't think to themselves and say, hey, this is not appropriate. All the adults in there don't think, hey, this is not appropriate. That goes to show how really they've gotten what it is that they wanted. And that was some sort of normalization of what is taking place here. We're in trouble. But it's going to continue to get worse because, well, instead of dealing with it head on, people didn't want to be called a bigot. They didn't want to be called all these other things. So instead of, I guess to them, that was it's worse. Like, it's kind of like what we saw with Leah Thomas. You had a sport full of women that knew that shit was wrong, but only few spoke up. And the ones that did speak up didn't speak up until after she had fucking won the goddamn national championship. Because rather than be called a bigot, this is what it is. They are scared of that. They are more scared to be called a transphobe or a bigot than they are of just advocating righteousness, what's just. Even though they know it's wrong, they'd rather go along with it because, being called a bigot or being considered a transphobe is worse to them. That's how much power these guys got. So what's next? I don't know. I mean, you got all people always talk about, yeah, they were always coming for the kids. And I mean, yeah, we can concede that that's exactly what it is. And I think that the indoctrination element of it is especially sickening because they're not doing that for the sake of, okay, well, they're trying to liberate a child. Has nothing to do with it. Why they are doing it is because they want to validate themselves. And children are like sponges, man. They don't know any fucking better. So if they can use that to have them validate their own existence, and that's an entire generation, large swath of people, then they're going to do it. We have to stop being so apologetic about this, man. Like, that shit's weird, man. And that's just wrong. There's nothing else to it. There's nothing else to discuss here. You're wrong on this issue. If you advocate for buck dancing, bow jangling, jiggling, gyrating ass idiots that are doing shit in front of children, and you think it should be permissible, because even if it was on some straight shit, that's wrong. But you think it's permissible because y'all on some gay shit or some non-binary shit or whatever y'all want to call yourselves, not straight shit. Then you on some other stuff, and we need to call it for what it is. Degenerate, abusive shit. Because it's one thing for an adult, and let me get this out the way as well. Make no mistake, just because someone's not with the lifestyle it is that you live. You remember that lyric in Utopia, It Don't Exist? I was specifically referring to this. I said black, white, gay, straight need to pipe down. Nobody's obligated to accept your lifestyle. Stop thinking that the government should force it. That was the lyric. And what I'm referring to is, even on the topic of sexuality, you got people that get bent out of shape and butthurt because someone's like, yeah, I ain't with the gay shit. You got like the Tampa Bay Rays, I think, are having this issue where they were going to do, of course, this Pride Day BS, and there was some Tampa Bay, was it Tampa Bay? I don't remember if it was that MLB team where they were like, yeah, I don't want to do that, right? And now, of course, the leftists is like, how dare you don't try to validate us? Like, who the fuck are y'all? And that's because we've allowed them to use terms wrongfully. The term phobic, what is a phobia, means fear. Just because ain't nobody with your gay shit does not mean that they fear your bitch ass. Okay? And that refers to adults. And just because someone's not with the gay shit, whether it be in support of it, does not mean they hate you. It doesn't mean they even dislike you. Where have we gotten to, from a cultural standpoint, that, someone thinking what you do is weird means they despise you or hate you? Where we get that off? You don't think that there are people that think that I scream in a goddamn metal band is weird? Okay, they might not like it. They may despise I don't know, metal music or some stuff like that. But that don't mean they hate me. But we use that in terms of sexual. I can say hey bro, I ain't with that. And I think that you do it is weird as fuck. Right? But I ain't gonna inflict violence on you. I'm not gonna advocate any act of aggression upon you. But the problem is that the left has controlled the conversation, and now they have basically made it to where it's one and the same. Just simply even not wanting to be that or be acknowledging that as all right, y'all on some weird stuff. Just even saying that gets you called a homophobe, transphobe, and all bigots and all that stuff. Because anything short of actually giving them a thumbs up while they jiggling and gyrating and shit means that you hate them. And that's only because they were allowed to control the conversation. And you know what happens when they control the conversation? You get people doing this stuff in front of kids. And it's not even considered criminal. Culture is fucked right now. We got a lot of work to do. And this is just the latest reminder of that.
You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.